Pumpken,
and we're at
Utropeia podcast. Anna Cranberry, Chris Moonjump, and Todd Ogredose. Bill, MrYu video. Seeker, aka Dimmsdale.
Brian, Hambone, Hannah, Jimmy Poop and Louie, Jimmy Poop and Louie, Jimmy Poop. Hey, does Mario Kart exist?
Because I'd like to apologize.
Come step up to the plate and meet your match. It ain't no thing.
That was easy.
Hello and welcome to the Utropeia podcast. I am your host, Ken, and I'm awake. And I'm also
awakened in the form of the devil. This week on the Utropeia podcast, we are talking about possession.
Whoa. Oh, hey guys, what's going on? Why are you looking at me like that?
You ready to podcast?
Oh, yeah, sure. Gosh, what happened to me? I'm really cold.
You know, you say this every time we podcast.
Oh, do I?
An alarm goes off, you start talking in a weird voice, and then we podcast.
I thought it was just a bit.
You know what? You're kind of right. Hello, welcome. This is the first installment of our month of October, the Utropeia podcast. This week we are talking about superpowers, but this is the power of possession. So thank you all for joining us. At the top of the podcast, we like to talk about what we are excited for, / maybe bummed out about or creeped out about for the beginning of the episode. Ooh. But first I will introduce everybody. I'm just so excited. It's my favorite time of year. It honestly is. And I guess I'm kind of semi-entitled to that, being a pumpkin. But take that as you will. Also, my guests and co-hosts for this edition of the Utropeia podcast is Anna Cranberry.
Hey, maybe I'm a ghost.
Bill, MrYu video.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Oh, damn.
And from the moon, Chris Moonjump.
We don't have any ghosts. No ghosts on the moon. They
What
can't
happens
breathe.
to all your dead souls?
We
The
eject
ghosts
them into
can't
the
breathe
sun.
on the moon?
We just
Yeah.
float out into space.
Every step of this got more ridiculous.
We quickly but politely ask them to leave.
I'm sorry, you're no longer welcome to the moon.
Also our special guest, Seeker, aka Dimmsdale.
Ghosts scare me very much, and I pee myself.
Gross.
Thanks.
And also helping us exorcise the demons, it's Todd Ogredose.
I'm a little afraid of the moon, but not for any particular reason, like I'm a werewolf or anything.
Why would anyone say that about you, Todd?
No reason, because I'm clearly not a werewolf.
It's so untrue. Why would anyone say
Why
that?
would any person say that?
What would a werewolf on the moon be like? Just a wolf all the time?
They would just be I'm here
They
wolf.
would
Yeah,
go Super
nobody-
Saiyan 4, I believe.
No question about where they are in
Like
that situation.
I don't even know. I'm familiar with this.
But to continue the cycle of the podcast, and to introduce the pun bell for those of you who are listening on the first episode of the Utropeia podcast,
The punishment bell.
The punishment bell. We're going to talk about what we are excited about / bummed out about for this week. You know what? Since you feel that there's been a little punishment, let when we wear. Hey, Seeker, what are you excited / not excited about?
I am not excited about that stroke you just had. That is probably number one thing.
It's a side effect of being possessed.
And playing golf on the moon.
Oh.
Yeah, you get a lot of strokes. So I'm par with my other tasteless jokes.
Yeah, I'm excited about you not making. I am excited about. I was about to say you not making more puns. But that's not true. I love it when you make puns. I'm excited about. God, I feel like we talk about Smash Brothers every week, but I'm excited about Smash Brothers coming out next Friday.
Every week till it comes out.
Yeah, every week talk, and then even then for the next month after that, I'll be excited about Smash Brothers. Let's see what else. Oh, I finished the first season of Rick and Morty this week, which was intensely good. Oh, I love that show so much.
It's very good.
Oh man, excellent.
I remember our first discussions of that show. It's good.
I like it.
It's hard after the first couple because it's so weird, but
yeah, it's yeah. If you didn't tell me it was Dan Harmon, I would never guess. But as soon as I know, it goes through all of his cycles, like Community, and it's just so good. I love that show so much. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been doing this week, and I've been pretty pumped up about it. It's been fun times.
Why are you talking like that?
I slipped into my character. You know,
slipped into your character,
Steven.
Or was this the character the whole time? Steven?
Steven the Aspirin Man. What?
Steven the Aspirin Man?
Yeah, that's my character, my famous character.
Did you bail out on what you were going to know about?
You guys don't know about Saker's famous character?
Steven the Aspirin Man?
I feel like I'm the only one.
Thank you, Bill. You pay attention to my work.
You know, I thought I understood who you were doing, and then you sort of went into a different sort of area.
It's me, Steven the Aspirin Man.
You sound like someone who would really like anime.
Maybe.
Todd.
Beautiful, sweet Todd.
Beautiful, sweet.
Not a werewolf Todd.
Someone who won't disappoint me in any way, Todd.
Well, get ready for it then.
Okay. I got my disappointment hat on. It's a big thumbs up.
Is it so pointy?
Yes.
Yeah, what am I excited about? They announced, as we're getting into October now, they released a date for when a comic I'm really looking forward to comes out, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is by the same folks that have been doing Afterlife with Archie, which is my favorite comic as weird as it sounds, my favorite comic to read as of current. And it's a comic that's by all means much better than it has any right to be. But they're doing a variation of Teenage Sabrina, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but they're making it very like Rosemary's Baby,
Oh my
kind of.
god.
And
Man,
it's
what?
yeah.
Cheers, Sabrina. Can I have another devil cake?
But there's like weird. They did like a prologue to it in one of the afterlives, and there's like weird cult stuff that's happening, and it's gonna be pretty cool, I think. So I'm really looking forward to that.
This
I used to love the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are they gonna eat her Melissa
As
Joan
a teenage...
heart?
Oh.
Damn it.
There's the disappointment.
I bring it myself. No need to make any. I brewed a fresh cup. No, that sounds like something I would enjoy for the reasons of cults and the devil and demons. And you lent me Afterlife with Archie, which I have yet to read. I just finished the new Hellraiser run. No, not Hellraiser. Never the Hellraiser run. The Ghost Rider run. Why did I say Hellraiser? Why did that happen?
We all
I
know what you're
really
really
hope I
thinking.
never have to talk about Hellraiser ever on this podcast, except for who does it badly. Maybe. Lady, if you're listening, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. But yeah, I'm excited for... We're drinking Haunted Pumpkin Ale this evening. It is made by... Who is it made by? Someone brewed it. I don't know. I have a rabbi. He brews it every day.
Have a brand name.
Oh, God.
I still need to write those letters of apology, don't I?
All of us got that and just let it go, except it struck Chris so hard.
It's by Lucky Girl Brewing Company in Pittston, Pennsylvania.
Pittston.
PA.
Pittstain, Pennsylvania.
In Pittstain Paw. Pittstain Paw. He makes the greatest pumpkin beers. Too bad they're all cursed. Duh. I also ordered Pokemon.
What was that character? No.
No, we're gonna let him go. We're
You
gonna
didn't
no.
explore it.
No.
Fine.
Everyone
Haunted
really likes
Mine
Frozen
Shaft
today.
Pit Stain Paw is going to come back maybe in next week's episode.
Oh, spooky.
Ooh, foreshadowing. It's much more than 3 shadowing. Anyway, Pokemon Alpha is gonna come out soon and I'm excited for it. Okay, Anna.
Oh, I'm still recovering from so many bad jokes. What?
I forgot to ding for all
Okay.
of them.
I genuinely got mad.
I know. I saw it. I was right here.
I'm excited for the Halloween months in general.
Yes.
I'm glad we're doing Spooktropia.
Yeah.
Walking Dead's gonna come back. I'm pumped for that. It's gonna be so bad.
Yeah. It's good.
Box Trolls comes out this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Man,
Who's this
but it
weekend?
looks kind of cute.
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for ugly characters, but a heartwarming tale and beautiful animation. That's my opinion on Box Trolls. Bill, Mr.
I got more Godzilla movies to watch today.
Gojira.
Which actually, I went because Chris got me actually the 2 of the movies from 2000. It's the Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters, all out attack. That was kind of insane actually. And then it came with Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Ooh.
And they're all independent stories that take place like however many years after the original movie. So I went to get Godzilla 2000, which was the first one that started the Millennium series, which is all like independent stories that really don't connect to any movie but the first.
Mhm.
And they had the Godzilla collection, which is a bunch of the movies from the 50s and 60s. So I got a ton of Godzilla to watch.
You didn't get your hands on the Matthew Broderick one, did you?
No, why would I ever?
Poor
Because
soul.
yes, poor unfortunate soul. So sad, but true. Chris Moonjump.
I unfortunately will go with my major disappointment for this week was my brother and I finally beat Destiny. Well, at least the main story portion of it.
Mm-hmm. If you could change your fate, did you?
Oh God, would I? It's difficult to explain because it's a mixture of disappointment and kind of like a general stopping of caring. Because basically the game does not really. It doesn't give you a story to really latch on to. It tells you there's one,
Mm-hmm.
but it will never actually let you enjoy it. And it's very depressing. They really it feels unfinished.
We'll talk
basically.
about it more in 2 years when the spoiler quota.
Yeah, that's really the big thing. I would recommend if people are interested in picking it up, I would wait a while.
I just thought the
Spooktropia
trailer was really
2017. Get hyped. Get
It's
hyped.
going to be a movie. That's really it.
I hear they fixed that one big bug where there was that cave that dropped a ridiculous amount of loot.
Yes.
Question? Yeah. Okay.
Question mark.
I don't know anything about the game. I was just disappointed at how many skinny characters were in the game.
How many skinny characters?
What?
Yeah, for a game called Density, I just thought that
Oh
there'd
my
be a lot more.
That's a fucking good one, dude.
Always a setup with Saker.
I'm so mad.
Because the thing about Saker's setups is that he's so earnest when he says them.
I feel like I always trick Anna.
Deceitful man. I fall for this shit every
I
time.
fall for this bullshit every time. God fucking Dimmsdale. Piece of shit. Timmy Turner hometown motherfucker. So who's ready to talk about possession? Not that I had a bout of it just a second ago.
Ooh, I like
I
possession.
am.
It's 9/10 of the law. Okay. I'm gonna have to change the levels on
Someone
that
was
one.
bound to make it.
Home is where you make it. Joe Dirt is not about possession. Okay.
Or is it?
Whoa! Damn, you're right! Joe Dirt is not about possession. Woo! Is not
Edit this out.
A boot
A boot
for our
position.
Canadian viewers.
For our Canadian viewers. The one of you. You know who you are. I love you. Anyway, possession. Who do you guys think of first? I always feel, whenever I say Bill MrYu video, it feels like I'm singling him out or like calling him in a classroom full of kids. But it's just because I want to be fair and give you like the first chance to go. Do you feel like it?
I don't know.
All right.
Now I really feel like the pressure's on.
When you get all fucking honest like that, you piece of shit.
Do your homework, MrYu video.
What's the answer to number 10? Or are you still working
What
on
is the
it?
capital of Myanmar, MrYu video?
MrYu.
Mr. You
Is it
video.
Malamar?
Correct. Mr. You video.
So am I actually talking, or are we just gonna keep
10 points to Gryffindor, Mr. You video.
He would never give out points to Gryffindor.
You're right. 10 points to Slytherin, Mr. You video. All right, yeah, you can go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I don't even know anymore. So the first thing I think of is the movie Repossessed.
Ooh. What's it about, Bill?
It is kind of a sequel to The Exorcist.
Kind of. I thought Exorcist 2 was a
Yeah.
sequel to The Exorcist.
Well,
I know we don't want to think about it,
Is
but
Is
I'll
it
get
a
into it later.
spiritual sequel?
Excelsior assist?
it is.
Very lightly for you.
It stars Leslie Nielsen.
Okay, I'm in.
And he's like the priest that did a like exorcism, and the woman's all grown up and gets repossessed.
Oh, good.
And it's typical like Leslie Nielsen fare of a movie. It's good.
Naked gun with possession.
With demons.
Pretty much.
The devil, demons, the devil, hell, Beelzebub, devils, the demons. The demons and the devils.
The devils.
They're my favorite band. I'm so sorry.
Yes. There's no follow up to that.
There's nothing else. Okay, no, cool. It's a funny, humorous parody, basically, on The Exorcist.
Well, that's essentially for me. Like my favorite part about Halloween is watching like the comedy movies that have like the horror themes to them. So, except for like Scary Movie and all those shitty ones.
Yeah, well, they go like beyond parody, and they go into like I can't honestly say anything because it's not like a clever parody. It's just like I'm referencing this thing that happened this one time. Remember, you get it? It's just that joke over and over and over again, which can drive someone crazy and maybe make them not like spending time with you if you keep making those sorts of jokes. So, Todd Ogredose, what do you think of first?
Dead Man.
Deadman.
Always Dead Man.
Always. What is it? Boston Brand?
Yep,
that his
Boston
name?
Brand. Yep.
Yeah.
From DC Comics, he is a dead man.
Yep.
I'm done. No, no, he's a superhero. He was a acrobat. He was a circus performer. He was killed, and because of higher ghost, he fights bad guys that way. But no one else can see him. But he jumps into bodies and possesses them, and kind of does like the fighting and all that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a cool character. Definitely one to look into if you haven't before. He's definitely who I go to first when I think of possession. I'm sorry, I may have been a dead man there.
I may have been the Deadman. Because you can see him in, of course, the comics. But I remember seeing him in, and I swear we referenced this show at least once an episode, maybe just under once an episode. But in Batman the Brave and the Bold, you'll see him in a couple of episodes, basically.
Yeah, he was in that. He was in Justice League Unlimited for an episode as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. He was talking to the bats, I think. Mm-hmm. Maybe he likes to talk to Batman.
Yeah,
he's
a fun character. He can be kind of a little whiny about being dead sometimes.
Well,
who isn't?
Who wouldn't be? Woo. Good stuff. Mr. Moonjump!
One of my favorite also involves the moon, kind of, but a different moon.
Oh. Harvest Moon?
A moon over my hand?
I actually go with Majora. Majora's Mask from Legend of Zelda.
Yum yum.
And yeah, I mean that's one of those, especially for the era and especially for Nintendo. I mean that was one of those kind of, it's a very light tone possession kind of initially, like, oh hey, I can speak through his body, until you get towards the final days. And it begins to get to be a much like, it's one of those, it's a dark game that has even darker tones after a while. And I really hope they do a remake of it at some point.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Instead of just another Ocarina of Time remake.
I mean, there has been some discussion. I know that I'm probably going to butcher his name, Aonuma. Was actually saying that no, we've been listening to the fans' reactions to it. So hopefully they'll actually begin some development on it, or at least give us some details.
Everyone wants it.
Yeah,
everyone does.
All of us want it.
Even me.
Even me. And I'm a guy.
And I'm a demon.
Oh.
I'm a golem, I'm sorry. This episode I'm a demon.
That's a little better, but
that's a little better.
But yeah, that's kind of what I go to first. Is I especially like that one because it is, like I said, it's a very gradual, and it definitely sets the tone for the world. I mean, it's just really well done. I love it. I'll talk more about it later if I had to guess.
I've never played Majora's Mask, but that makes me remember sort of a meta. I know I'm lame.
You can borrow it if you'd like.
Yes, I would. Actually, do I have it? I might even already have it. I'll check. Anyway, where am I going with this? But it reminds me of sort of a meta. I mean, I'm not sure. I guess it fits into tropes, but there's a creepypasta called Ben Drowned.
Yes.
Does anybody know it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's taking the ideas of possession in Majora's Mask and applying it to sort of the real world idea of what if a spirit possessed this cartridge or this. And if you've not read Ben Drowns and you are in a Halloween, or Ben Drowned, and you are in a Halloween spooky mood, holy shit, you can do not much better than Ben Drowned. But that's an interesting thought for, bringing it to the meta, so people kind of look at those ideas of possession in the game and bring it to kind of a breaking the fourth wall sort of fashion.
I think there are some YouTube videos that you can watch about it also, if you're just sort of curious and you want more visuals to sort of go with it, but
yeah, they work into the canon of the story in that, the game changes every time this kid plays it, and he takes, he has a capture card and he's taking video of it. But yeah, even if you don't know the canon of the story, the videos themselves are just nightmarish.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were videos of the gameplay itself. I just know the story for it.
The videos are also terrifying.
Oh, good.
Is that also what you think of, Sacred Dimmsdale, or?
It's close to what I think of. The first thing that comes to mind for me, I'm super into scary games, and lately I and my cohort Grum have been playing a lot of PT for the PlayStation 4, which is also known as Playable Teaser, which is also known as Silent Hills, the demo for the new Silent Hill game. And it is so scary. But the idea behind the game, it's so hard to tell what's a spoiler and what's not, because it's a demo. So, like, I guess it's not a spoiler because you can beat the whole thing in 20 minutes if you know what you're doing. But so there's a man, and you are this person, and possibly he killed his wife and ripped out her baby from her stomach, and but now she's haunting you. And so what happens is you can get possessed by her during certain sequences, and during those sequences, if your character turns around too fast or looks in a mirror, she will kill you in the most horrifying way possible. But they're called possessions, the times in which she is able to kill you. And when we mentioned possession, that was the very first thing that came to my head, simply because I've been playing a lot of it lately.
Okay. I'm gonna let it go. Because of the 2-year rule. That's fine. It's been out for a while.
It's a teaser.
Yeah, it's
more
a
of a trailer than
any
a gamey.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. If you play it for 5 minutes and then turn around too fast, you can see what I'm talking about. So, and there's no plot to it, so I don't know how much of a spoiler it is for anything.
Yeah, no, it's cool. But no, that's been around for a while actually, for the new PT trailer. It's been the buzz as of late.
It really has.
Yay.
Well, as I say, I think anybody who is really interested in it probably already knows everything about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as much as there is to know, because Kojima is such a weird troll, withholding, he gets off on withholding information, so.
Oh yeah, I think this is almost one of the perfect series for him to work on.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this mashup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Guillermo. Yeah.
It was amazing.
I'm psyched
Of the bowl.
So excited for him to be working on that with Kojima.
Mm.
It's like a dream team.
Yeah, it is. It is.
He just needs to get Kojima to work on the next Pacific Rim with him.
Ooh.
What?
No, shut up.
Don't tease me
That would be
like
cool.
that.
Come on.
Come on.
Stop it.
I don't know how well suited Kojima would be to a non-interactive medium, because so much of what he does is based on surprising somebody by breaking the fourth wall or the illusion of control. And I'm not going to spoil the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, even though it's been more than 2 years, but just like the things that you have to do as a player that give you more agency over the characters in the scenario. But yeah, he's so good at an interactive medium. I don't think he would be good at a movie.
Well, that's why I'm sorry to just turn this into Kojima Cast, but that's why I'm super excited to see him work on non-Metal Gear Solid for once.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what he's able to bring to the table in a game that's not something that he's been working on for the last 20 years.
It's true, and I've read a lot of things that say, that he's so mired and bogged down by the plot of Metal Gear that he doesn't have the freedom to just run crazy with it again, even though he sort of does in every game. But I mean, Silent Hill, every one is kind of a self-contained story besides for 1 and 3. So, he kind of has the freedom to do whatever the hell he wants, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna Cranberry, Yes.
Yes.
What do you think of first when you get possessed?
When I personally get possessed,
Yes.
I think, oh fucking god, not again.
That's a good joke.
There's so many good examples out there. I mean, we've already talked about a lot. There's obvious ones like The Exorcist. It's not necessarily one I am very passionate about, but what came to mind was Shaman King, because it is literally a show where the whole point of it is possession. Which it's pretty cool to kind of have an idea based around that, and it's one of the few ones where it's like good and helpful.
Yeah. If your spirit is strong, you can be the one.
I love Shaman King. Said I forgot about it.
Shaman King.
Yeah, it's a very interesting idea with the use of possession.
It's Pokemon with ghosts.
Intentional, yeah. Because being possessed by ghosts.
Not really.
Well, you don't catch them. Except
Possess
Or do
someone?
they
You don't
catch
collect
you?
them.
because your body's the Pokeball.
Oh my god.
Clever.
Oh my god.
Well, Ken, if you had remember, they get stronger if they just possess an item, though.
Damn it.
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm
It's
sorry.
fun. The only experience I've had with Shaman King is the one episode where that kid needs to learn how to use like a proper toilet. Nice kid.
And his name
All right.
is,
I'm
wait
glad
for
that's
it,
your.
Horo Horo.
Horo needs to take a poop and he doesn't know how.
He's got blue hair and he snowboards, and his best friends are little plant pixies.
That's all right.
I'm not making this up.
I don't think you are. I know it's a Shonen Jump anime.
Shaman King.
Your spirit is strong. I think of The Exorcist.
I didn't want to.
I think of The Exorcist
Thank
when I think
you.
of Shaman King as well.
I need one when I think of Shaman King to get that song out of my head. It's so catchy. No, The Exorcist, the original Linda Blair Exorcist, with the creepy music and all of the special effects. I remember my parents telling me stories back when they were crafting me in the Golem Forge about how they saw it in theaters, like when it actually came out, and they were so scared of it, they actually ran home in the rain because it just affected them that much. No, it's a cool movie. It's got like a lot of effects in it. It's fairly disturbing, and if you like slow it down, you can see like some of the devil faces like imposed over stuff. It really kind of got into like the satanic scare of like the 1970s and the 1980s. This was like back when we didn't have a fucking possession movie, shaky cam footage found in the woods every Halloween season. It kind of, I guess, maybe sort of started the trend, I'd say. I guess I'm a horror fan. I honestly don't know how to describe it, but I do watch a lot of horror movies, and that's kind of why I'm super into this this time of year. But no, the Exorcist is my first go-to. It's a very iconic starting score, and quite honestly, one of the first, maybe not accounts of or stories of the devil taking over someone, but it's definitely, I think, one of the more popular ones.
The quintessential possession film.
Yeah, I'd say
it's a good one. It really is. It's worth a watch.
And if you get scared easily, then maybe watch it with a friend, or go to Wikipedia.
Maybe run home in the rain
and make a golem.
If you get possessed easy, you may want to watch it with a different friend. That is not a demon.
Maybe a priest, old or young.
Well, you need both.
You do need both. You can have a rabbi. You could just watch The Possession. I mean, that's what you'll get if you just Google it. It's just that movie. Not that I've done it. Anyway. Okay, so we've gone through the gamut of possessions, not only demonic, but of different versions and styles. So since we've sort of ran the gamut, what's a good example of it being used? And I'm going to go to Anna because the demon of sleep is possessing her right now, just like every week.
Good examples. Well, the one I really want to talk about is too recent because I don't want to spoil stuff, but I'll just name the show Gravity Falls. Not what I expected from just like a kid's show.
Yep.
Which is how I would describe that show in general. But they did an excellent possession scene. Really, really well directed. Mm-hmm. Just a really good take on it. It was really creepy and just well done.
Because I'm going to say it this way, they did it in the form, and I don't think this is spoiling anything, in the form of a deal rather than I am taking or assuming direct control. Like, it is just like a misdirect. It is no, it's just very well done. Deal. Yeah, and the animations for how they walk around inside that skin and sort of like inhabit that body, because that's what possession is.
It's the first time I've seen that, mm-hmm. where the possessor, I guess, mm-hmm. has to adapt to the body of what they are possessing. Like, they're mm-hmm. not used to having a physical form, which is such a cool concept. Mm-hmm. No one ever does that. It's just immediately like, I'm an evil demon, haha.
I know exactly how to pilot this robot made out of bone and flesh and blood.
Well, that's terrifying when you describe it that way. But
everyone's got a skeleton.
Sleeping inside them.
Except Skeletor. He no longer has it.
Doesn't he have a tiny skeleton inside of his regular skeleton?
Yeah, just piloting inside of his brain. That's canon.
Have you? For some reason, I thought you were a fan of Gunnar Craig Court. Have you ever read it?
No. I'm not saying I'm not a fan.
It's a
I just
webcomic.
have not seen it.
Oh, no, I hate it. Oh, Gunnar Craig Court is a webcomic. I don't know why I thought, but there's sort of the same thing in there, in which there's a big bad who gets accidentally possesses the body of a little stuffed toy, and so he has to learn to kind of live in that body because he's stuck there for various reasons. But I kind of thought of that when you mentioned adapting to the form instead of mm-hmm. the other way.
It's really cool. It can be funny and
yeah.
It's true.
It can be crunny.
It can be crunny.
Yes.
Or freepy.
Freepy for weepy. 20 Spooky every day. So Saker, who do you think does it
though? I had 2 does it wells because they're both
2 dozen
small.
wells.
2 dozen wells.
Don't just fall down.
You already did 1. That's a baker's dozen, sir. That's too many.
My girlfriend got trapped down a well.
How did that turn out?
She was very confused. Anyway, so boy, jokes from the middle. Anyway, so
par for the course.
The one, both of them are kind of weird because they're not anime or video game. The one is a board game one. There's a game called Dominion. It's generally considered to be the grandfather of all deck building games, which are games where, you start with 10 cards and you use those cards to buy better cards and get rid of your older cards. Stuff like the DC deck building game or the Penny Arcade deck building game builds off of that. But there's a card in the game called Possession, and it's an expensive card, but when you get it and you play it, basically whoever after your turn is over, whoever goes after you gives you their cards, and you play a turn as if you were
Ooh.
them, but any card you buy goes into your pile. So I just think I love games that have interesting themes to them, like things that feel like, oh, I get it. I understand how this is connected. I understand how this is possession, or I understand how this is, a festival or whatever. And I feel like that game does it really well. You can possess the person next to you and kind of give all their things to you, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other is a music trope, another one we don't really see very often. I love the Gorillaz, and the drummer for the Gorillaz, whose name is Russell Hawes,
Yes.
during the first CD's era, was possessed by the spirit of his dead friend named Del the Funky Homo Sapien, who is, of course, also a famous rapper in the real world and not in the Gorillaz world. But because he was possessed, he's the drummer for the band, and he's a smart, eloquent guy. But every so often, the spirit of his friend Del will possess him, and he'll just spit mad rhymes, and it is amazing. And if you've ever seen
he possesses him not through his muscle, but the percussion he provides.
That's very... Wait, Bill, do you know this whole rap too, or... No?
For me, it's a guide. Y'all can see me now because you don't see with your eyes. You perceive with your mind. I'ma stick around with Ross and be a mentor. Bust a few rhymes so motherfuckers remember what the thought is. I thought all this so you can survive when law is lawless.
Sensation that you thought was dead. No squealing. Remember that it's all in your head.
Squealing, remember that it's all in your head.
He's a rap encyclopedia. As long as it came from the mid to late 90s.
It is one of my favorite raps in that song.
Yeah, it's
Bill,
true.
The music video for that was fantastic too.
Oh
yeah, that's what I was going to mention. The Clint Eastwood video is incredible, and to watch his transformation from mild-mannered drummer to this rap beast is pretty incredible.
Spectral gangster rapper of defeat.
That's different.
It's true.
Yo. Phil Lamar.
So those are my two good ones.
Yes. Poop Dog from Invader Zim.
Phil Lamar.
Yes. You will never get the mystery grand
Did not
prize.
possess. That was
Yo. So Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit Tracks.
I got that one.
I
Yeah.
love that game.
I need to finish it still, which I guess makes me less cool. But yeah, Princess Zelda has possession powers in that. She can possess
More
suits of
of the
armor.
main character and more useful in that game than any other.
I just love the whole
Smash
Toon Link
Brothers.
series in general. They do so many good things.
Wait, what'd you say, Sager?
Saker,
Yeah, that was
I said Smash
Saker
Brothers?
interjected a fighting game into our serious discussion.
Sorry. Well, she said she's more useful in that game than any other. I beg to differ. Her up smash is so
I beg to differ as an aspirin selling man.
He's just an aspirin man. He enjoys it, doesn't sell it. God, Ken, you don't know my character.
Well, maybe if you wrote a more decent profile instead of just haphazardly sloshing this garbage onto Wikipedia.
Fine. Sorry.
Edit your sources, sir. Mr. Moonjump, I'm sorry you were so rudely interrupted.
Oh, thank you. The one who I actually really loved, because it was a very novel concept at the time, was actually the Diablo series, where in the first Diablo you played the heroic main character and everything, trying to stop, Diablo, who is the Lord of Hell, as he's breached back into Tristram.
No, I'm thinking of Devil May Cry. I'm so sorry.
But then, in Diablo, you actually, once you finish the game, everything seems normal, but your character actually begins to just kind of wander off, according to the canon. And then what you actually learn in Diablo 2, which was, we're past the 3-year limit on that, because I think it was
Diablo Dos.
12 or 14 years ago. Is that in Diablo 2 is that your main character from the first game actually was possessed by Diablo and has become the new vessel for the Lord of Hell. Who you then have to, as the new main character in 2,
Murder?
go back after him. Yeah.
That's good. Murder makes everything better.
Exactly. Just the
Just
devil.
the devil. Gotta. Sometimes you just gotta. You just gotta murder him.
Yeah.
Todd Ogredose. Todd Ogredose?
Murder.
Thank you.
Anyone ever see the movie Fallen?
No.
That's about the reaction I expected. It is a movie that stars Denzel Washington.
I'm in.
It is about a ancient demon that really hates heroes.
I'm in.
And so Denzel is kind of like a heroic kind of cop character in it. But the interesting part of it is the demon transfers body through touch. So if it walks into a big crowd of people, it just, touches one, and then that one touches another, and it just kind of like body jumps constantly throughout the movie. It's just a domino
effect of demons?
Yeah, it's a really interesting way. And there's like, if there's no body around, it could stay like kind of like in the area, like in the air for a certain amount of time. If it runs out of time, it gets killed as much as a demon can be killed.
Oh, gosh. Why am I not watching this right now?
John Goodman has a small role.
Oh, why am I not? Well. Why is this not in my eyes? Oh, here haw.
But I really dig the concept of a demon just like leaping from body to body. It's a simple touch, like, because you don't think about like how many people like you end up lightly touching in a day. That could be a demon, and if that demon really has it in for you, they could really mess you up by just jumping into all kinds of like influential people, or just like like a little girl or something you'd never expect.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, nowadays I think everyone would expect that.
Yeah, fair enough. But that, like, it's kind of a cool concept. The movie itself is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's anything like really amazing, but I really love the concept of it.
Mm-hmm. No, I really like it too. I'm probably gonna watch it later tonight. While I do other stupid things for myself. Let's see, what do I got? Oh, examples of it being good. I had South Park actually, where the ghost of Kenny possesses Cartman from the pot roast episode. Where they go to Scotland. This was like back in a time where Trey and Matt didn't know if like they wanted to keep Kenny dead or if they wanted to like bring him back. This is the first time that Kenny actually had a voice other than, spoiler, from the movie where he just says "thanks guys," where he actually talks through Cartman, and you kind of have like a weird odd couple inside of one person where it's Kenny just ripping on Cartman from time to time. And the brilliantly and still quoted Rob Schneider joke, which I don't think will ever go away. But you know what? That's just what they say.
I know I had talked to somebody once, we were talking about South Park, and they said the best thing that Matt and Trey ever gave us was the term derp.
Was that them, really?
Dum-to-tur, dum-to-deedly, dum-to-dur. Yep, pretty much.
Because, that last Rob Schneider trailer is just pretty much tiddly derp, dirty derp.
I also had the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask in here, Chris, because I thought that was a really good, like, subtle sort of, like, lead-in. You don't know if it's, like, the actual Skull Kids, like, M.O., or if it is, like, the mask, like, kind of taking over him. I guess the mask with Drew Carey kind of fits into it, but not really. No, it still does.
You kind of get possessed by the powers of Loki.
Even in the Mask comic, which
where they just call him Big Head.
Yeah, the Mask you could see that more as like a possession than like the Jim Carrey, because the Jim Carrey version he kind of just gets like goofy and whatever you really feel on the inside is expressed on the outside, but like in the comic, it's really intense, and you could argue that Big Head, the Mask, is like the big bad of the entire
of the entire series, more or less. You're cutting out a little bit.
Sorry. Yeah. You could argue that he is just like the constant antagonist entire comic.
I remember reading a Loki versus the Mask comic, and that was just all levels of crazy. I don't know if the Joker ends up getting the mask or not, but that was intense. Considering Loki is, just or Lobo. Sorry, Lobo is. Did I say Loki versus the Mask? I meant to say
did.
Lobo. Wow, what is up with me today? But it's Lobo versus the Mask, and Lobo is like this crazy regenerative bounty hunter that's a little outside of what DC would usually do. But
Lobo's the best character ever.
Lobo is fragging hilarious. I love him.
He is the 90s embodied into one character.
Directly
On
is.
purpose.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
I could keep talking about good examples of possessions all the time, but you know, we gotta talk about these bad examples. We gotta talk about them. You know what? I never go first, and I'm gonna take this one just because. Exorcist 2. Exorcist 2 is an awful fucking movie. The main enemy is called Bazuzu. How am I supposed to be afraid of that? How am I supposed to... Bazuzu. And you know what the fucking theme music is for that movie? It's that fucking sound all the time. Fucking Bazuzu. It's awful. There's like a scene with a tiger and like spikes, and then they fake you out at the end. It's got Linda Blair like tearing her house in half, but not really. I'm so sorry. You had to find out this way, Saker. But Linda Blair tears her house in half.
Like she grows into a giant? And rips her
No,
house
she
in
just
half?
floats above her bed and goes, and then the house goes in
that's
half.
dumb.
And there's a young priest there, and he's just like, "You should stop this. This is absolutely not so crazy." And she's like, "I don't give a shit." That would have been more entertaining, actually. But no, Exorcist 2 is awful. Exorcist 1 and Exorcist 3 are actually pretty decent flicks. And I could talk about Exorcist 3 more, but I will not. So...
You know what would have made the theme song to Exorcist 2 better? Okay, feel me on this one. You ready?
What's up?
Tubular Bells, but with the two. It's the sequel. Hold on. I don't know what it would sound like. Fuck, never mind. All right.
I thought you were going to say, like, Too Blair, Too Furious, like for Linda Blair.
Too Furious. That barely makes sense.
Blair
Well, he
Dream.
just had to bear it all.
And we're all thinking.
We're all thinking.
I already got my bell. I'm good.
Oh, gosh.
It's your tubular bell?
I guess.
That was kind of a Linda moment. No,
don't give him that.
The bell was stuck. The bell was stuck.
All right, good.
Oh, it's just blaring us right in the face. Okay, so... Saker, just take me home. Just take me home and
country
rip my
roads.
house in half. Actually, you know what?
Oh.
That's the name of the podcast.
So again, I have two. I think I'll just talk about one of them. My bad example of a possession is actually a non-possession, so it really doesn't even belong in this podcast at all. But I do want to mention it because it's a fake out. Let's work our way back to Kojima. So, Metal Gear Solid 1, Revolver Ocelot gets his hand cut off. Metal Gear Solid 2, we see him again, and he's got two hands, and one of them is the hand of Liquid Snake, Snake's brother, Solid Snake's brother. Wow, genetic clone. Whatever. Anyway, so, and then every time he gets close to Snake, there's this weird, like, he grabs his hand, and he starts talking like Liquid would talk, and you get the impression that, holy shit, like, he's being possessed by Liquid Snake. This is so cool. And Metal Gear has always kind of been on the cusp of, like, you know, is this really happening? Is there some element of, you know, is it technology? Is it magic? And unfortunately, the answer is almost 100% of the time, it's nanobots.
Nanomachines, son.
Yes, nanomachines. That's always the answer in the Metal Gear series. And unfortunately, like, we have this cool moment where you're like, oh my god, he's being possessed. And Kojima leads you to believe that through Metal Gear Solid 3, through all the PSP Metal Gears, when we learn more about Ocelot's character. Granted, it's young Ocelot. But then Metal Gear Solid 4, we get the reveal that he grafted this dude's arm onto himself, and then he basically took drugs and hypnotized himself to make himself believe that he was liquid so that he could hide from the Patriots. And then we got on this rabbit hole of Kojima not really making any sense. But the reason it's bad is because it had such potential to be something cool and interesting and a really like a bizarre supernatural happening in this universe where, you know, supernatural happenings are somewhat few and far between. They're more common in the, you know, Metal Gear Solid 3 era than they are in the present day, but still it's I don't know, would have been a cool thing.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't know.
I agree. Just there's something kind of fun about the unexplained and about you know, doing something that's supernatural rather than like feeling you have to sort of scientifically explain everything like metachlorians.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, I think people a lot of the time are scared that, you know, if we don't explain this, then, you know, people are going to be upset. But, you know, they didn't explain, or they barely explained the sorrow in Metal Gear Solid 3. Nobody cares. Like, it's just a cool genre-defining moment. I don't know.
No, I'd go along with that. Absolutely. So, Mr. Moonjump, Mr. Chris Moonjump.
All right, the one that got me is not a demonic, but it was a terrible example because it was just not well thought out, and that was the third birthday.
Oh, the Parasite
And
Eve?
yeah, I wouldn't go that
What is
far,
this for?
or at least I wish I
The
could
third
go that
birthday
far.
of my third birthday?
The yes,
That was the worst possession
I'm
ever.
sorry.
But no, the third birthday was made kind of almost as a cheap cash in on Parasite Eve fans, and Parasite Eve was a game where basically you deal with the mitochondrial Eve, basically giving people superpowers and shit and turning cities to goo and whatnot. But the third birthday involves your main protagonist after going through all of these things apparently now being able to possess other soldiers and time to some extent. It's very weird. Like, it's literally like they just kind of forgot every piece of establishing story they did for it. And the explanation for it is basically like, oh yeah, we understand that this was kind of supposed to be a little bit of a mutant horror story, and that's kind of how the first and the second went. But no, they can totally, mitochondria can totally take you back in the past. That's how it works. And that was it. It was, no, you can totally possess people because biological functions let you do that.
Sure.
So you can do it. Yeah, and it was completely unexplained, and that was kind of one of those, they included it, but it doesn't really, you know, if they don't give it any meaning, it doesn't mean anything to the player.
It's cool. And it kind of notes on the same sort of thing that Saker was saying earlier, about, you know, over explaining basically your theory, your canon, if you will.
Yeah, is you can also most certainly under explain it too, because it's one of those, if they could have given some hint. And the other thing is that it basically takes them almost the entire game to kind of acknowledge that yes, this is a Parasite Eve game and this is your main character, and yeah, this is why this stuff works. And that was literally like 2/3 of the way into the game. When they finally were like, yeah, no, we're comfortable telling you that we are just destroying your canon. So,
okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It was just one of those. It's a terrible, like, it's a bad example for the genre, primarily because they don't give you any reason to believe that it can be a thing. Because like demonic possession is a thing we all know about. Like, that's a very common lore and mythology within the world. Yeah. But this one was just like, oh yeah, science. You can go back. Like,
sure.
You can possess time. Why not? That works.
Why not? Todd Ogredose.
I think I have a really good example of who does it bad.
Not
maybe
even End of Days?
God, why? Why do we have to talk about End of Days again?
We don't have to.
End of Days is no, I don't want to talk about End of Days.
All right. So bad we can't even talk about it. All right, good. That's a good example.
Yeah, because like the possession in it's kind of standard. It's the devil just possesses like a business guy.
He's so lame at it though. He makes out with a dude's wife and then just murders her. So why even? Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, we're done here. And maybe Starscream's ghost.
Maybe Starscream's ghost. Starscream's ghost.
Yeah. So in the Transformers G1 movie.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, because it might be more than 2 years old now. Starscream gets super murdered, and but like his character was so well liked that they wanted to bring him back. So in 2 separate episodes, he comes back as a ghost and possesses I think Cyclonus and Scourge respectively. But it's just Starscream, and he's just yelling the whole time. It's really not a good time.
Okay.
I don't know why anyone likes G1 Starscream.
But yeah, I think that's about it. The best I got for examples. Now that I'm totally focused on End of Days again. Thank you, Ken.
I am sorry. Would you like me to call an ambulance?
Kristen York. Christ in York. It makes so much sense.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Go and make a
doesn't at
smoothie out
all.
of egg foo young and leftover pizza, and tell your friend that you want to kill yourself, because that's a great way to start off a movie. It is that era of Arnold, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like right when we were developing that impression, pretty much. Gosh, terrible.
I will stab you, the devil.
I knew the devil. It's terrible. Okay, so Bill MrYu video, take us home.
Actually, I wanted to make a stupid joke first.
it.
Is there a possession scene in Ghost Dad?
Dead.
I don't remember.
Was
Anyway.
Actually, I think there
might have
was
been?
a possession scene. Yeah.
But my example was also Starscream's ghost, but in a very specific series that I wish didn't exist.
What is it?
Oh, do I have to?
Well, I mean,
So, in Japan, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I don't
here we
remember,
go.
there was a series called Kiss
Oh,
Players.
is this that kissy one? Oh god.
And yeah, Starscream possesses one of the girls, and
she kisses boys.
No.
so okay, Kiss Players is a Transformers series that the Transformers are powered by the kisses of little girls.
Are you fucking with me?
I'm
No,
not.
it's a
That
real
is an
thing.
actual thing.
No.
Now, it's okay because they look like little girls, but they're all legal driving age. And I air quoted there.
Okay.
Anyway. So, Starscream possesses one of them while she's in the bathroom,
Oh.
and then runs out with her underwear like around her ankles or something. It's just this is something I wouldn't even know about if it wasn't for one person at a random convention. So now you all have to share the pain.
We'll get you the next Utropeia con. We'll find you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. Oh, and of course, I want to talk about that part because man, he was really into that.
Oh god.
He had a vast knowledge of
It was
the
a
Kiss Player
very
series.
weird man.
Well,
Well, Stan Weirdman, thanks. Thanks for scarring.
I like how much
Stan.
this Who Does It Poorly has affected us as people. I'd like to note that.
Which it just brings us down into a depression
It's
and
just
funk.
been like punching us in the heart over and over again.
Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should do the Who Does It Bad first and then go into Who Does It Good. No,
is
yeah.
it the end of the show? Did we just
I'll
do
come
More
back
I
in.
wanted to say.
I always I'm done for like a second.
Oh, yeah. Any final thoughts?
I want to bring up a specific example that I thought of that I really want to run by you guys.
Okay.
And it's kind of possession, but I'm gonna run this by you. Anyone ever hear of Sam Beckett, Dimensional Drifter?
Yeah.
Now,
Of course.
Quantum Leap, is that possession or is that time travel?
It's apparently video
Because
games
I
because it's on G4.
I was also wondering about like mind swapping and like mind jumping and stuff like that. Very different from moon jumping. No, it's interesting because you're kind of the main point of possession is like I am in a new body and I am. For demonic possession, it is I am utilizing it for my own purposes, while for any other possession, it's more or less the same thing, but with less of like an evil tilted sort of alignment. So, I mean, unintentional possession is still, I don't know, because there's like the mind swap episodes, like your Freaky Fridays and like your I'm in a different body or like the brain swap sort of stuff. I guess I would say and I am semi playing devil's advocate here because theming, that it would probably go more in the vein of like, if you're transplanted and you don't necessarily intend it, that's more of like a mind swap than a possession. But that is. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because they do actually pull the people into the holding area, if you remember.
Oh, that's right.
I actually totally forgot about that until you just mentioned it.
Well, that's
They had like the.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
They had like a whole episode where they had him like talking to some dude in the waiting room.
But I actually had an example that I thought of that I wasn't sure if it would fit into, because Darker Than Black I talked about not too long ago. And there's two separate people that had possession powers. The one guy could possess people, and his body would just fall to the ground, and usually what he would do is walk him over to an edge of a building, and then jump off, and then go back into his own body.
What a dick.
And then there was a guy who could possess animals, but he had lost his original body, so he was stuck in the body of a cat.
Yeah, I read it.
No, that was a hawk that the guy was stuck as.
That's right. R.I.P. Tobias. Was that his
The
name?
hawk?
Tobias, I believe, was his name.
That was the hawk's name.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
Yerks.
Yeah,
Damn.
I was trying to think of a yerk pun, but I couldn't
What a
get
yerk?
it. It was yerking me.
Also, if we're just doing like final thoughts, one thing I really like is the Dofus Walk Fu.
Yes.
Like the idea of the Shushu going around trying to possess people, and to counteract that, they force them to possess items, like the Order of the Shushu. But the story of Goltard actually is he gets possessed by one of Roshu's high command. Like, I think he's the guardian of December. Actually,
Roshu is the king of hell in the Wakfu universe.
yeah, Roshu is, but I forget the name of his second in command, but I know he's the guardian of December. But he's the one that actually possesses Goltard, and the way Goltard gets over the possession is he develops split personalities. So essentially, the possessed version of himself is a separate personality from his main personality.
Goldhard.
This was all in the original. It was all in the original comics. I don't know how much of it is still canon with the show, but yeah. Then Goltard goes to form the Order of the Shushu, which goes around capturing Shushus and putting them into items.
That brings up something that I was thinking when I was writing down what I liked and what I didn't like for possession, and that's two separate personalities, because I was thinking of Venom. Like, is Venom possession?
that's a
'Cause they
symbiotic
live side by
relationship.
side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he is possessing his body because he has no body of his own, right?
Well,
I would say that maybe more with the Flash Thompson version, at least in the earlier versions, because Flash had control, but he could lose complete control over Venom, and it would just be Venom directly.
I would argue.
Whereas
for
like
it.
Gargan and Brock probably were more of a symbiotic.
They sort of, because their goals were sort of simpatico, but at the same time, they walked a thin line, so it's not like they could necessarily have a conversation about it. It's more just like whatever desire was more strong at the time would sort of take over. They were symbiotic most of the time. I guess for the sake of it, I would say it's almost more of a demonic possession, though, because like the Venom symbiote does use Flash Thompson for a lot more stuff, and Matt Gargan, and a little bit for Eddie Brock. I think Eddie Brock more is who I'm talking about than Flash Thompson. But it is more like of an evil alignment sort of shift. It's in the symbiotic possession, sort of like would Symbionic Titan count? The Genny Tartakovsky series?
I would say that is a symbiotic, because it's like the melding of minds.
So it's not necessarily like anyone is taking over anyone else, really. It's more like a hive mind, but with just 3 parts, or 2 parts, I guess.
It was heart, body, and mind, wasn't it?
Yes, and all form the head. Yeah. No, that was... Yeah. I don't know. We can get into like so many like splintered versions of it too, which is what I love also, seeing like where these tropes can kind of go.
But all these things can be separate episodes. So we have to shut up now.
Sorry, guys. I don't know. I think we get into like more interesting things when we kind of like segment them, because then we can kind of like get into the finer details and like kind of tweak them around a little bit. I don't know. And just explore like the very niche parts of them. I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about Adventure Time when like the Lich.
Yep. That was my other
Oh yeah,
one on my
you
bad
didn't.
list.
Well, for the Billy.
It's been.
It's
has it
been not enough
maybe
time
not.
since
Oh,
we've
God,
seen
I
that.
didn't-
It has been
Gonna beat that
for
part before.
Mortal Death and Mortal Mortal Breath and Mortal Recoil, whichever. I think that's been more than 2 years, but I don't know about the second time.
He does it
showed up.
once, and he does it again, and when he does it again, it's out of nowhere and crazy. They do some kind of
Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. See, I mean, for me, the out of nowhere part was that it was also really kind of a Deus Ex Machina. The first time he did it, though, not the second time. Is it safe to talk about the first time you said? Bill?
It's definitely because it was the first year I went to Comic-Con is when that episode aired, so that was 3 years ago.
Man, damn. Let me tell you. Like, you go through this big battle and whatever, and then there's like this little joke that's in the background of every episode, and he becomes this shitty Deus Ex Machina. By which the main villain of the series makes an escape. Like, that's just such a crappy way out. Like, decide if that stale is going to be a joke or not a joke, because if he's going to be a serious plot point, then, I mean, he takes on a whole different role in the show. I don't know. I did not like that at all.
Well, that's essentially the whole Adventure Time writing has become that. Like, these kind of interesting ideas they had, then they tried to get too serious about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Has everyone any more final thoughts before we close the floor? Yes.
Well, one of the ones I was actually going to bring up with possession, being as we were kind of talking about the symbiote type thing, is what about like a mechanical possession? Like people using like
in a cyberpunk setting or
like
okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Well, yeah, actually, if we go into cyberpunk examples, if you talk about like Ghost in the Shell, where it is,
you hack
after
a
a while,
brain?
yeah, and basically people could straight up just take over bodies.
Open internet connect. Yep.
Hacker.
And I always thought that one was interesting because, I mean, hell, it's one of those. Of course, people are going to do that if given the option.
I had someone try to steal my identity earlier today. Actually, that was interesting.
See, and if he'd have been able to plug into that beautiful brick brain of yours,
wonderful pumpkin head that I just carry around on my terrible golem shoulders,
he would have been able to eat all the seeds he could have had.
That would have been cannibalism or cannibalism. Ah,
Cannibalism.
I should have saved that.
I get it.
I should have saved that. Oh well,
yeah,
I'll just load it next time. Anything else?
Did we do aliens? Did we talk about aliens?
Oh, what were you thinking of specifically?
Alien symbiotes, possession.
We talked a little about Venom, but
specifically, I was thinking Stargate.
Oh,
with the Goa'uld.
The Goa'uld.
The Goa'uld. Yeah, because there's bad ones and there's good ones, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, the Snake Hoodman?
The what?
The Snake Hoodman.
Okay,
the Snake
You're
Hoodman.
talking about the first episode of Stargate where the henchmen have snake hoods.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't even evaluate on this because Ken is just grinning and it's probably going to turn into a joke.
Snake Hoodman. I didn't mean to ding it, but I'm glad I did. Snake Hoodman.
I love it.
Snake Hoodman?
Don't do this to me. Why?
No, that's...
Why can't you just be my co-bro on this one?
That's exactly why.
Because I don't know where you're going with it.
Snake Hoodman.
Snake Hoodman.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Snake Hoodman, newest member of the Justice League of Utopia.
Of possession, Snake Hoodman.
Todd, you're vaguely aware of snake people.
Only if it is their head.
And they are the god of rock.
The most important part of the snake.
Yes.
The Hoodman.
The Hoodman.
Specifically, the Hoodman.
That Mega Man boss.
The Snake Hoodman.
Snake Hoodman. There's a bunch of toilets hopping around in that one.
That's true.
You laughed
I don't know
too
where
hard
we've
at that.
gone now.
We've gone.
I'm just so confused.
Okay, blame Ken because he's still laughing at Snake Hoodman. This is what I get for contributing.
Snake Hoodman. But the
I briefly mentioned Yerks too.
yeah, the Yerks.
The Yerks.
Couple of Yerks.
Parasites.
Watch their unboxing videos.
Oh my god!
Yes.
I forgot about one.
What is it?
Oh my god, the faculty.
With John Daly from the Stewart Show.
John Stewart is an alien.
He is.
No,
Which I believe was one of Elijah
Yes,
Wood's first
he
movies.
would.
you know what my favorite part of that movie was?
That it takes place in Ohio.
Yes, but the advertisement of it, they made a big deal that Usher was in this movie, and he's in it for like 2 scenes.
Hey, yo.
Like, but Usher's in this movie.
They advertised it back then?
Yes,
I don't even remember that.
Gotta let
it
it
was
burn.
reels to reels, and they talked on it on the talkies. And said, here comes a movie about a faculty.
I'll never forget the faculty because the newsreel before I watched it in last World War II was a big moment in my life.
What?
Did it have a Mickey Mouse cartoon before it?
Were they bombing the French?
In the Mickey Mouse cartoon?
Well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to die in nuclear fire. Oh,
Disney's got an educational video for everything.
They sure do. Speaking of education,
Speaking of faculty.
speaking of faculties, it's time to come to a close and graduate to the next episode of Utropeia. I cannot say, but thanks for patronizing me.
I liked it.
Snakes for Hoodman. Vote snakes for the next Hoodman 2013. There's a
Guys, I'm trying so hard to think of a second half of this joke because you've got Caribbean yerk sauce, but there's got to be some cool Runnings pun that can go in there somewhere, and I've just been trying so hard for the past like 5
You're
minutes.
making me crazy with trying to work this out. Just thunk. Teeny weeny
little
yellow
Like
polka dot
clumped against the side of the
bikini.
bell.
Look, I know we're being haunted by these puns. Very much like a haunted house for our next setting.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm good.
It's fine. It's okay.
But look, thank you all for listening to the show. We've been everywhere, but it's a fun time. It's Spooktropia podcast, so things aren't always as they seem, and that's the excuse I'll use. But no, thank you very much for tuning in, listening to us. We hope you're having a good time. 2, 3 spooky, 5 me. With that, I have been your host, Ken Pumpkin, and sounding off is Anna Cranberry.
Good night.
Sacred Dimmsdale.
Marco Runnings? Marco was
Just
a character in the
look.
Animorphs. That's... Good night.
Poloing the wool over my eyes. And Todd Ogredose.
Thanks for the exercise.
Chris Moonjump.
boo.
What?
He's gonna scare you.
Oh. So scary.
And another scare, Bill MrYu video.
Hooray! See you later.
Hooray!
It's a scare.
We trope you found what you wanted from beyond the veil. Ooh. Until we peer into the geek void next week, void. Ooh.